All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rahak Wadash, the one that's the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. All right, and you few Akwaf, meaning sisters out there listening and learning in silence as well. All right, hey, Shalom and salute to you sincere brothers out there pushing the truth across the four corners of earth. Risking your lives to do so day in and day out. I'm the brother Shaman from Great Millstone, St. Louis. I just wanted to jump in on a topic real quick. We had somebody, just to summarize, we had somebody come to the camp and he knew about the Israelites. You know, he had a certain level of understanding of the scriptures, but he got tripped up on some parts and he started to say that, if we're going off the law, which we told him we rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our ability, then we're supposed to not have mixed fabric. We're supposed to sew our own clothes and basically, put your own outfit together, which is not of mixed fabrics, which that is in the law. However, that's not in this place where we're at. What we were trying to explain to him is that that's not reality. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Israelites scattered across the four corners of the earth, being in all these impoverished situations and on the run, or, whatever the case may be. We just don't have the time, the resources, so that's not necessarily doable. All right, just like some of the scriptures also say what, that basically some things are lawful, but they're not expedient. And it just some things just don't work. And this is Jeremiah 4:4. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord and take away the foreskins of your heart, ye men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doings. And one of the parts, matter of fact, verse 6, set up the standard towards Zion, retire, stay not, for I will bring evil from the north and a great destruction. And we set up the standard. The scriptures talk about, we'll rehearse the righteous acts in the land of drawn water, which means what? You drawing water, that means you're a servant. A land where you're a servant, you're a slave, and then that's what it's talking. It's talking about here in America. It's talking about here in this captivity, right? And it also talks about what the matter of fact. Let's get that. Judges 5:11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the place of drawn water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates, right? And that's exactly what we do. We stand go to the gates of the nobles. We go into the streets. We go into the chief places of concourse, and we try to persuade our people. Try to set that standard up, right? And part of that is rehearsing those righteous acts, because we do want to be delivered from what the noise of the archers. We want to be delivered from the missiles, right? And again, part of that is rehearsing the righteous acts, rehearsing the law. It's the dress rehearsal. And, when you read the script for the first time, you can't necessarily nail it, with an Oscar performance. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep reading it over again. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand, of course, the context and the complexities of the stories, the little relationships between each character. All of that stuff goes into rehearsing the script, rehearsing the righteous acts. All right. So we know that, of course, our righteousness is as filthy rags. Nothing we could, nothing basically is ultimately by faith. But if you do have that faith, you're going to show works. And that's what we were trying to tell him. All right. And he stumbled, the brother, he couldn't get it. Seemed sincere, but he just couldn't get, not according to knowledge, he couldn't necessarily get it. All right. We actually ended up speaking with him for 3 hours, and he still just couldn't, get it, saying that, he had actually been to Israel. he was familiar with the Israelites, all of this extra stuff, but he knew somebody personally who knows how to sew garments, all right? And at the end of the day, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with patchwork. It's nothing wrong with being able to sew. And you got brothers who have nicer garments. They're able to, patch things on, and that's part of them, get into the spirit of them being an Israelite. But you can't hold Israel worldwide. You can't hold them all to that same standard. All right. He was trying to say, yeah, you can. You're supposed to go to a class, learn how to sew, spend all your time sewing, so you can make stuff from scratch, based on the law, Deuteronomy 22:11. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together, right? And it's just not possible. Esau, he mixes fabrics. He mixes fabrics, and there's nothing you could do about it. Now, sometimes can you get an outfit that's 100% cotton? Yeah, but it's very rare. It's very rare that you're able to do that. All right, I mean, it's just not doable. You know what I'm saying? You're in a situation where you have to go to this man for one of all things. Certain things are out of your control. You got certain foods where they don't tell you every single little detail of what's inside of it, or they leave things off the list, or whatever the case may be. You cannot follow it perfectly. All right, but then the scriptures say what? The Lord said what? The scriptures say what? Do we dare void the law? The Lord said what? I've come not to destroy the law, but to fulfill the law. So again, this is a rehearsal act. This is a righteous rehearsal. We're not going to get it 1,000% on the first try, especially not here in America. All right, because the scriptures say what? Ecclesiastes 7:16. 7:16. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Yeah. You sitting at home, brothers might have a humble means or whatever the case may be. You living with, maybe you're still in your parents' house. Maybe you got, a roommate. Maybe you got your own little 1-bedroom or place, or 2-bedroom. You're going to sit there, pay $500, $600 for a sewing machine, sit there, try to stress yourself out, trying to find good prices on fabric. Okay, you get the fabric, you sew something together that's your size after you, try to do your measurements and stuff. Then, you got to make alterations if you make a mistake. All of this extra shit when you could just go to the store, pay some money, boom. Now you got some clothes to put on. That's just like these, you got these Amish and these Mennonite Edomites who, they'll make clothes, and they're still walking around, with that Quaker Edomite shirts and slacks and all that shit, jumpers and shit. Nah, man, that's outdated. Okay, that shit is outdated, and people are gonna look at you like you're weird. All right, and not weird as in us when we stand out with garments, because they look at us, but then we explain it and they understand. All right, this is gonna be like this is like a mentally bugged out kind of weird. Like, what the fuck does he got that shit on? So, and that's not the effect that you want. All right, and it's just not doable. It's just not. It said what? Be not over much wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? Right. So you don't want to, and that's with everything in the law. You don't want to be too over righteous, but then you don't want to be, slipping and being lax either. You know what I'm saying? You want that perfect balance. And again, it takes rehearsal to get that. It takes rehearsal, counsel, you know what I'm saying? All these different things. Observation, you praying over things, for them to be in your spirit. All of these things. So, it says, it is good that thou shouldest take hold of this. Yeah, also from this withdraw not thine hand, for he that feareth the Most High shall come forth of them all. Exactly. And that was one of the questions I actually asked him. I said, after, because we jumped around for about an hour, and I asked him, look, in light of all of this, do you believe that you're an Israelite? He said he'd been to Israel. He referenced the Lord as a black man when we showed the skin color of the Lord, and we showed the skin color of the Most High. And he referenced the Lord as a so-called black man, and still, no, I'm not an Israelite. And, we even brought out scriptures saying the law is only for Israel. The law is only for Israel. Still couldn't get it. Just stumbled over the Gentile thing. So, ultimately, maybe he'll get it at a later date, but this particular time, it wasn't clicking through. No matter how many scriptures we hit him with. So, hey, that's all I had to bring out, man. Don't be over righteous, exhaust yourself behind a sewing machine for hours, hours a day, for weeks at a time, just to make one pair of pants, when you could just go to the store, pay $40, $50, or whatever, get you a pair of pants. Do stuff that makes sense. Keep common sense. You know what I'm saying? Don't drop all your common sense just because you find out you're Israelite. Keep common sense and use understanding, and use the examples that have been given. All right, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. You have things that have been set. Just follow the example. All right. And that's for myself first and foremost. But Jake, they're hard-headed, and our people like to go over the top with shit. But Lord willing is edifying. All praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. Hey, shalom to the elect. Shalom.